Alright, guys, with further ado, we can go ahead and get into the next match and actually get into the semifinals. It should be underway in just a moment as I get everything unmuted and get right into as I will be joined once again by Scribe. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, man. Excited to see all these teams. Do we have a coach? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like there is going to be one. And yeah, that's a whole other discussion too that is worth noting on and worth probably leading in on is of course in Counter Strike, the coach is basically a player in a lot of ways. He acts as a central point of information, giving out strategy, giving out calls. Of course, he is only allowed to see what the players see standing behind him, and in game they do use only their you can only see through their first person cameras. But that is something that I feel like is very natural evolution for first person shooters, and Overwatch might be a game that demands it even more than any of the other games that have come before it in its similar sister or brother genres.
This is what I'll say is that as an analyst who kind of has to deal with this stuff sometimes, it's kind of tough, right? Because in Counter-Strike, you have just so much more time for a coach to make mid-round calls and be able to do setups like that. Because Overwatch is so fast, it oftentimes having another voice in that conversation oftentimes just crowds communication and crowds your comms. So there's a lot of other aspects you got to think about there as well as like how much people are communicating. I would actually compare Overwatch closer to something like Halo or Call of Duty in terms of voice communications and how teams are able to share information in Counter Strike. So that is something to think about.
Yeah, but I guess even then though there was still definitely the coach role in the Halo. That was the first game that really drove me into the competitive scene. Of course, back then it would have been when T Squared got his face on Dr Pepper bottles. That was kind of like the moment that was like, oh, this esports thing. It could actually be a thing. But they were starting to get into coaches around that time. And started to. It was when I stopped watching it competitively and got more into StarCraft that they really got into the coaches and started bringing them out more concertedly. But maybe that is still something that we will be seeing, and I hope that we end up allowing that to be a case. Personally, I always disagreed with the way Dota went about it. That said, you're not allowed to have coaches in the booth. You're not allowed to have somebody who's actively there. But it is a much different game, so it is a much different debate. But I definitely feel that it is something that would benefit this game and also be something that teams should be able to explore because it is a high information, high pace game. You definitely hit the nail on the head comparing it to Halo in that respect because there is almost no downtime. And if there is downtime, then the offense is usually doing something wrong, to be frank, is kind of like the truth there.
Yeah, it's very limited in how much information you can give out as a coach because what you can do is you could do like setups and executions, but you are so limited in saying like since like I don't know, like for example in Counter Strike, like there are brief moments where it's up to the player to really have their aim on point and win these 1v1 fights. Whereas in Overwatch, there's so many more instances of that, and you're dealing with more of that. Like maybe like 80% of your game is aim and DMing, and the coach can only do so much in that aspect.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. But I mean, I guess the other question would be then, like, if you were to have a coach in Overwatch, it would be, I guess, maybe not so much of a complex question, but it would definitely be the strategic caller then, in your opinion, and you would defer the in-game calling or shot calling to, of course, one of the DPS or the player who feels comfortable with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think the typical esports model and what some teams are following is they're doing the single shot caller who basically does executes, does target selection, and is a player who feels very comfortable, both DMing and being able to have his aim on point and make these calls. But the way Envious and a few other organizations are doing it is they're starting to transition into more of an open calling style, meaning that they assign specific roles into specific characters. So, for example, engagements are done by the Lucio player or something like that. And it's just more about feeding information. One person sets up, and everyone else, other people, depending on the roles on a team, will go and execute. So it's a little different, but there's definitely room to grow in terms of what this best model is. Because even now I don't think there's anything that like is like the real best style to be working on.
I completely agree with that. That's actually a good point to bring up too. Is that the top teams are definitely starting to look at different stuff too. But we'll go ahead and get into the introductions for this game. We have Choke Overwatch going to be on the defense. Christopher going to be on a Reinhardt. Ships over here on a Junkrat. We have Kissa on the McCree. Zach going to be picking up his Lucio. Darius going to be picking up his Zenyatta. And last but not least, the Zarya for Ox. And if you want to go ahead and lead out with B.fly here.
Yeah, Fisher on the Genji, Outsider on the Zarya, Reels on the Tracer, Tom on Lucio, Casper on the Zenyatta, and MVP Badger on Winston.
We'll go ahead and lead it out with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Fisher, as he's going to be pushing forward on that Genji, looking for the dash in, already very aggressive, but Kissa waiting for the end of that deflect, able to land the shot, gets himself not one but two kills, as he also is able to take out Tom, and that's a huge kill for them as the Lucio is going to be down, makes the disengage that much harder, and now Outsider's going to fall as well, and with no speed boost, it is that much harder to get away from a fight that you've already lost, and that went very, very well for the side of Choke to start this game off.
Yeah, Kissa was just hiding in hotel and was able to escape a lot of the engage and a lot of the damage, and was able to do a lot of outside fighting from the side. Or was that him, or was that Chips? But either or, they didn't check that inside room, so they actually missed out on a lot of the DPS that the defense was putting out.
It definitely was Kissa that lit up the first two kills of the kill feed, and he's going to be going over here onto Reels. Actually, Chips ends up taking out Reels with the grenade. That's definitely a bit of a mistake there from Reels. Shouldn't be going down to that. Flashbang on MPV Badger as Kissa continues to chime in with Chips. There's going to be the Deadeye coming out from Kissa. They need to get a lot out of this, and he's going to go ahead and take out Fisher after Ox takes out Outsider. And now it's just basically Casper left all alive and all alone, and he's going to end up going down. And right now, Choke Overwatch is definitely putting their foot on the ground and making a line. And B.fly hasn't been able to cross it effectively. And I guess it's maybe worth asking the question, how do you feel about the double assassin lineup here on King's Row with both of the Genji and the Tracers? They do switch over to McCree.
Yeah, so I mean that composition works well, but you need to commit so hard on your tanks as well, and you can't send in only a Winston, and you have to probably go Winston Diva and maybe run something else so that has a lot of engage. Maybe run Ana around. But yeah, now Graviton Surge, wow, pulling in Reels. Wow, I was unlucky at the end of that duration as well.
We tried to follow out the Riptire. It does get a kill on to Tom after Fisher tried to take out Chipsa, but didn't go well for Fisher. He ends up going down, and now Kiss also takes out Outsider, and this has not been a good fight at all for right now for B.fly. They just feel a little bit lost of sorts right now on King's Row. And maybe it is a map thing. Of course, they did look good on their previous King's Row, but they were definitely against a weaker caliber of opponent. Choke Overwatch, a team that definitely was not a team to be scared of going into a lot of these tournaments weeks ago, has consistently been performing better and making themselves a scarier and scarier threat as things go on. But Fisher's able to take out Darius, Ox is able to take out Reels, and so 1-for-1 trade. But there's a Sound Barrier Dragon Blade, and maybe this is exactly what they needed to maybe get stuff done. As Chips is going to go down, Kiss is going to go down, and Fisher has found a good line of play and a good flow to be able to get what he needs done. And MVP Badger taking out Christopher and Tazik, only leaving one hero alive, and that is going to be Ox, and they ideally want to kill him right before the point is going to be capped so they can max stagger and force a long spawn, and that's going to be the case. That's going to be the point taken, and finally B.fly is able to continue to move forward, and that was looking scary for a moment, but they do get the point captured.
Yeah, Christopher whiffing that that Reinhardt ult didn't really do much, especially when you have MVP Badger doing an immediate response and being able to follow up with that. That was a huge point with that 2 or 3 man Reinhardt or Earthshatter on his side. But yeah, no, that's just pretty close, and the fact that they held it for so long is kind of it's a little worrying. They need to have a very clean push to the rest of this point to do to make it hard for Choke Esports to kind of do anything.
Yeah, but they are going to have a decent amount of ults here, as there's Darius is going to pop that Transcendence, but Reels was using the Deadeye and doesn't get any kills out of it, and that's a little problematic, as that is one of the major ways to deal with the ultimate. And I say that Tom Outsider able to take out the 2 people chasing down Reels. There was one answer coming out from the defense, but that's about it so far, and it is going to be Tazik and Darius backing out right now, trying to get out alive. Tazik's going to end up going down. We're going to switch over to Darius as he's in an escape plan, but again, escape can be one of 2 things. You can be lucky enough to walk away, or you can end up dying and going through the grave. And it looks like Darius might be getting the former there, getting a little bit lucky and getting out alive so far, but now B.fly is making great time on the map.
Yeah, Fisher's just wrecking so much havoc in the back line, and great Graviton Surge followed by an Earthshadow. Wow, Fisher's cleaning up everyone in the back line. That is a great use of his ult, just as I was about to mention him. Fisher was creating so many problems at that point, and the big problem about the defense was that they were so divided when they were trying to take that defense. They had some people trying to kite back into, into B.fly's backline, try to disrupt the damage, but they were so stranded there was no follow-up. And because of that, everyone got staggered, and all of a sudden you lose a lot of your tanks and a lot of your front damage.
Well, and pun may be it, you live and die by the sword when you play Genji. If you're not getting a lot done as Genji, he just doesn't offer anything outside of that. Real's going to get himself a double kill with that Deadeye, and that's a big impact right there. Kissa needing to get something done himself, but it looks like he will be able to take out, Reels is able to take out Christopher after Chipsa takes out Fisher, and so that's going to be a 5-on-1, as there's only going to be one hero that's going to be respawning. 3 are actually on their way back now as the defense is trying to get in position as fast as possible, where Reels gets himself another kill and make it a second as he's just going off here at the end. We're on the wrong player right now. We're switching to the correct cam as Reels is just lighting up right now. Kill after kill coming out from him as he is not missing shots. He's going to be looking for the double dink on the Kissa, and this man right now is feeling it as he is running off into danger and still landing the headshots that he needs to, able to take out Kissa, as it is going to be a Genji chasing him down under threat as he is going to pop that Deadeye looking for those skulls, looking for those kills, and it looks like he's gotten enough of them. Will he pull the trigger in time? But he does. They take out Darius. There was the deflect preventing the death of Chipsa, but so far it's not going good at all for the side of the defense. They are just bleeding member after member, trying to stall the best they can. Tracer will finally go down, and that is going to be the time, and I got a time of 5:41. It looks like Chipsa says 5:42, and it was 0.7, so gotta love how stopwatches are super close. But yeah, that was honestly, that entire stopwatch time I feel like was built upon that first point defense. If there wasn't a situation where they had that first stall at the beginning for that first 3 minutes, that might have been a 3-minute 30-second time.
Yeah, honestly, that's just what happens. That might be the meta of King's Row right now, but it's just that it doesn't matter how long you stall on that first point, if the offense is able to save ultimates for that second streets phase and is able to push immediately through that just means more ults to be built up for the third phase and being able to snowball through that aspect. Very, very good effort on the first defense by Choke, but man, B.fly was just looking so good. Fisher just got rolling, and then Real at the last point was able to hold Deadeye enough to force a stagger at the last defense and never really allowed them to get set up. So great ultimate discipline for both teams, but at the end of the day, B.fly just comes out.
Yeah, and on the topic of ultimate management, I kind of had a brain fart here. So normally you talk about it in the discrepancy between the offense and the defense. The defense needs to have great ult staggering, because if they use all their ultimates and they defend, that's great. But the next fight, they're not going to have any to use to actually win the fight. Whereas the offense can always go with the logic of, if we use 6 ultimates and take the point, well, we can just rebuild, and assuming that the stopwatch isn't their enemy. But you kind of bring up a point where the offense was staggering their ultimates one after another so that they created space for the next one to build up the ultimate, and that seems to be a little bit more maybe a newer thinking or a newer way of playing the game in some respects. Some teams, of course, are still going for it, and both strategies work perfectly fine, but it is worth noting that is another way to be thinking about the game. It is a tempo and momentum based game, and if you can control and seize the momentum with one ult, you build up other ultimates. So if you can continue that, you push the map faster. I guess it's the question would then become, or I guess the discussion point is, the idea of the offense staggering ults to build more is greedy, whereas using all 6 to take a point is more stable. But it is an interesting thought that I just hadn't really considered until you phrased it the way you did.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that Zenyatta's back in the meta now. For example, with Mercy, like when you had Mercy team comps, like it would almost be fine to burn double ultimates, because the entire point of it, you want to end up killing the Mercy. You want to have ways to contest the fact that you can basically stagger a lot of this. You send in the first ult, kill everyone, and immediately after you start up your second ultimate that can clear, because the Mercy's all of a sudden has no option to revive. She reses into another ultimate, and you can clear it instantly. Whereas Lucio and Zenyatta ultimates are both damage mitigation ultimates, meaning that if you send them both in the same time, you're not going to get the biggest effect you can. So offensive teams, especially if they're looking to use their ultimates as team clear functionalities, they need to be able to stagger and be very smart to wait out specific defensive ults. Otherwise, they're going to be useless.
Yeah, no, again, a good topic of discussion right there. Another thing to go in specifically there is going to be the use of Deadeye to counter out Transcendence. Part of maybe the reason I don't think it's been explicitly talked about in this respect, or at least I haven't brought it up, or I haven't heard any other analysts bring it up. But Anna, of course, the Biotic Grenade counters Transcendence, of course, but when you look at it the other way around, so does Deadeye. So is there really a need to go? I mean that's the discussion with Anna, right? Anna's a good hero in all respects, but she isn't any better in enough of one way to be a pick over other supports, and she's picked in situations where, in all reality, if you just took her out of the lineup, no nano boost, no Biotic Grenade, it's like she's overkill in some respects rather than actually like fixing or amplifying a situation like the other heroes do. So it is an interesting discussion there, because that might be why we don't see Anna. There is that Deadeye pretty much built up and built into every single lineup because McCree's so popular, and that deals with transcendence.
Yeah, honestly, it's a matter of how you really want to with that, because you can use Deadeye as a way to clear specific points, but Deadeye isn't great in areas where you're dealing with chokeholds and you can't get full vision of the team, right? And worst of all, if the enemy has Reinhardt up, right, you're kind of like in a place where I'm just gonna wait, save it, and try again when there's more openings. So what On allows you to do in those aspects is in those specific niche situations where you have to break through a choke point or you have to get through a Reinhardt or something like that, you have the ability to do that, or the ability to mitigate, just throw in your bio, like your bio nade, and then mitigate a lot of the healing. But Ana has to get into that range to do it, which is kind of it's kind of tough for her on that side as well. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I would like to see more Ana play, and obviously as teams kind of work her into their compositions more and more, it might be I guess, how should I put it? It might be, you might see more optimal uses of that hero.
I completely agree with that as well, and I mean, maybe it is also like maybe a slight changes are needed. Zenyatta might be a little bit too good for where he's at, and might make it a little bit hard for him to be able to be swapped out. Maybe a 175 is a nice place there. Lots of little things that they could tune with, though. Personally, I feel like his orbs are in a good spot. His damage feels like it's in a good spot. It feels like at the end of the day, Lucio, there is literally no other support that can do what Zenyatta does. No other hero can damage while heal simultaneously. They can all semi do it to some degree. Like, yeah, Lucio can do his left clicks and speed boost or heal, but he can't do speed boost and heal, and that's mainly what you pick the Lucio for, is the mobility factor. So it is definitely a unique case where Zenyatta is just the perfect support, where he does everything that a support needs to, and he's in a very good spot right now.
Yeah, that's actually exactly my my reasoning behind why Mercy has fallen so far out of the meta, is because if you look at it, Zenyatta is a better Mercy in every single definition. Sure, you have the res, but why do you need to res so you can just mitigate all the damage that kills your team, right? So, but yeah, I mean, fairly similar team comp on the same side. They're going to go for more of an engaged comp with the Genji. Let's see how Chipsa uses it.
So far, we're in the background on Casper to see if he can stay alive for a long period of time. That is going to be the goal of the Zenyatta. If he can't do that, can be very bad for him. But there are going to be the shots going out offense side of the B.fly going for the, the side of Choke Overwatch going for the more standard nowadays, going through Hotel. But it looks like Kissa is able to take out Reels, and there it is going to be Outsider answering back. So far, they are doing a decent job getting in on this defense, as I do need to switch the titles. I forgot that we had to go back to lobby, so I will be switching that up. As definitely good defense coming out so far from the side of B.fly.
Oh man, they were just so disjointed. They just had, like, I don't know, they just got picked off. Their tanks got picked off, and then all of a sudden, Genji goes in by himself, and there's just not a lot of support from the other lines. Maybe they would have been better just resetting and going back in later when they had everyone grouped up.
There's going to be a charge coming in from Reinhardt as Christopher looks to take out the defensive MVP Badger. Deadeye coming out from Kissa as he needs to get quite a few kills with this. They haven't gotten too far in. Casper's able to take out Christopher, and they are buying plenty of time right now. Already having eaten up 1 minute and 20 seconds. There's going to be a Graviton Surge coming out from the defense to continue to do that as Kissa looks for the flashbang on to MVP Badger, but not able to get the kill yet. And there is the Transcendence from Casper to go ahead and guarantee the escape of the Reinhardt now. Not sure if I strictly agree with that. I was on Kissa's point of view there, so I wasn't sure if Casper got more out of that ultimate than just saving the Reinhardt, but he does go ahead and save the Reinhardt with that.
Yeah, I think honestly that was just a preliminary defense maneuver, making sure that no one got dropped in that aspect, and now they engage from Lucio.
As there's going to be that sound barrier keeping them live. Darius is going to go ahead and use his Transcendence right now, as we do have Kissa still live. Ox gets himself 2 kills, and now Chips as well. This kill feed's going nothing but at the side of the offense, but B.fly shouldn't be too upset with the situation they're in, as the team kill punctuates the point as Choke Overwatch continues to move forward here, but 2 minutes have been eaten up on the clock. And I did start the stopwatch about 4 seconds late, guys, so if you go ahead and subtract 4 seconds from the time that you see to beat in the top left, you will have the accurate time. But nonetheless, they are sitting on about 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Not a bad amount of time to work the rest of the map, but B.fly should be alright with that situation.
Yeah, that was just a great Zarya ult that Graviton Surge that crowded everyone together and allowed Chipsa to get away with a lot of, Dragon Blades. So I was able to clear up the fight, but let's see how they're able to do right now. Look, the defense is building up a lot of ultimates right now, and maybe they'll be able to use them.
They're going to go in with them. Earthshatter goes out, canceling out Fisher. You saw that he wanted to go for that Death Blossom, but he ends up dying. Christopher goes with the charge during the Transcendence, and it will end up being his life. As the rest of the offense continuing to push off the back of it, we switch over to Chipsa, as he does have the Dragon Blade available in just a second, but there's going to be a Graviton Surge hitting on all of the offense, and they're going to get cleaned up in just a moment. There was a Deadeye that comes out from Kissa, as it will be able to take out Casper, but I'm not sure if that's strictly going to be enough for them to continue to push off the back of this. Chipsa does have his Blade, though, and that could just be the beginning of the end for the side of the defense here at B.fly, though. We'll see, as he has yet to go ahead and use it, and we unfortunately did have some server lag there, guys. I do apologize. Not sure if, hopefully that's not on my end. It is hopefully on Overwatch's end.
Yeah, man, but that was great Graviton Surge, just not a lot of damage follow-up, and now everyone's going to engage offensive, oh man, defensive Lucio all being used. Wow, that's ridiculous, but getting a lot of damage initially.
And Reels will get one kill with the Deadeye. I think that Lasana defense is probably going to be able to clean this up fight actually, as they basically just mop up the rest of the offense. But Reels, it looked like he was actually knocked into the air by the Reinhardt charge during the Deadeye, or at least at the end of it. Helped him get an additional kill. But one kill from that Deadeye during the Transcendence negates the use of the Transcendence a fair bit already. And B.fly has already soaked up a lot of the time on the clock that they have to worry about. Approaching 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining here for the side of Choke Overwatch to get it done. And what would you like to see from them, Scribe, to go ahead and get this payload converted?
Oh man, this engage might be exactly what they need right now. Chips is going out for free, and wow, that Reinhardt in the beginning did so much damage, and Kissa cleaning up that mess. But that's almost exactly what I wanted to see, was a great engage. They had Lucio ult up and was waiting for that kind of the wombo combo, but this last point they're going into it with basically no ultimates right now, so that might be something to worry about.
Do you think that they have time to go ahead and take a fight to just build up ultimates, or is that too risky for them to take out one moment to build up those ultimates and not have enough time on the clock?
It really depends who goes down. If it's one of their DPS healers that goes down, this could be really bad. But that Graviton Surge crowds them all together. Wow,
Reels with double kill Deadeye during that Transcendence again, and that's during the it wasn't a Transcendence. I believe it might have been a sound barrier, but defensive ultimates went out and they tried to stop that, but it just wasn't enough. And now Kiss are going to pitch forward. He does have his own Deadeye, and there's going to be a Transcendence coming out from the defense, but no kills as he pulls the trigger, and then Lucio was baiting it, shoulder peeking it, able to prevent that, and now the flashbang over the top, going to be able to stop that Reinhardt barrier, maybe be able to get this kill. We'll find out in just a second, but Kissa does take out Fisher with that flick shot, and now going to be looking on the Reinhardt. MVP Badger is clearly dead there, as the rest of the offense is continuing to push forward here, and the defense is falling apart one by one. B.fly, 30 seconds remain to stall out, and I think at this point, if they switch to nothing but Divas and Mays, or a Diva, May, Tracer, stalling heroes, they should be able to stall the clock long enough, but it will come down to the final 20 seconds here.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to sustain it, and this is all they need. All they need is to hold, only point to stall this this last objective. But right now, the offense is just clearing everyone up. It's just so coordinated right now.
It's so close. They are going to go ahead and just call GG, but I'm not sure that it is actually GG with Casper getting onto the point here, and it is actually going to be GG on the side of B.fly. That did start the stopwatch about 2-3 seconds late, but it was still time none after the point was converted, so that will be going over to the side of B.fly, but just barely, guys. That had to have been at least 5-second difference. Almost a photo finish, needing the go back to the stream and check the times to be 100% sure.
Yeah, when you mentioned, hey, like, what do they take a fight right now? And I said, it depends on who lives, because if their DPS dies and isn't able to get a lot of those ult charges are up to speed, it's kind of almost useless, right? Because that's what you're really hoping for in offense, that you have that, you have a Deadeye, have a Genji ult to really base off of, and luckily, they were able to retreat, and even though it was a little staggered, they came back grouped and they were able to pop their ultimates. I mean, Chipsa's ultimate was huge. Like, sure, like Reels was able to get a great counter Deadeye, but at the same time, just have to go forward for something like that. It's ridiculous. Honestly, I'm just amazed that they were able to do that, but the defense just looked like they had overstayed their welcome for too long, and they hadn't been kiting, hadn't been stalling out. And maybe that was something on their minds, where mentally they're thinking this is just another competitive mode, where it's all about, taking the objective and maybe you go to sudden death. But if they had just pulled back, stalled it out for a little more, maybe they could have won that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, one more better fight on either side for the side of Choke would have been able to get them there because literally, I mean, my timer, I think I was about 4 seconds off, so I'm willing to say it was closer than 10 seconds. I think it was down to 7 seconds, but still, it was a very, very, very close match between the two, and honestly, one gust of momentum to the other side of Choke would have been enough for them to secure it. But that is a good sign for them going into, and a good sign for us, as we are going to be going into Hollywood here for the next map, as the final map will be we did. I believe it's Dorado, is what I said. No. Nabadi is going to be the final map that we'll be going to, assuming that the side of Choke Overwatch is able to take this. But I'm happy for this because we have had a day where there's been some technical issues, there's been some forfeits. We haven't been able to cast a full series today, Scribe, and this is looking like it might just be the series that goes the distance so far, and I could not ask for better teams to be doing it, as of course. I think both of these teams also deserve a little bit extra mention in regards to some of the teams around them, as of course they are teams that are more consistently lately putting up better results, in the sense that, you know, maybe last week they got quarters or a round of 16, but the next week they go semis, and the next week they do a step better. It's a consistent push forward, not just a consistent performance, but a consistent trug forward.
Yeah, and of course, and as they do better and have more consistent results, maybe we'll see them in some of the bigger tournaments, and hopefully get some of the invites. And I mean, I'm looking at a lot of other tournament organizers right now, hopefully being able to include some of these newer teams. But there's a lot of different avenues of growth here, but I'm very excited to see what goes on in Hollywood. I personally love this map. I think it's one of my favorite maps, but it's also a very good example of kind of like one of those hybrid maps, and this is bread and butter for a lot of teams. This first point defense is what makes a good Hollywood team, as well as being able to control the streets phase and then into the last studio phase.
I completely agree with that, and I mean, I think that the other reason this is one of my personal favorite maps as well, mainly because before the Widowmaker nerf, and for some reason since it, I haven't been able to play the hero well at all. Maybe it's just only because I could body shot Kappa. But this map, great Widow map, and also this is one of the best maps for compositional diversity because of the great difference between point A and point B, or I guess point A and the streets phase, like you say. But a talking point already, Ox is going to be playing the Roadhog here, so we have the Hog being played on the defense. What are your opinions on the Hog right now in the current meta?
It really depends on how much you can hit your hooks, but the Hog is very good at taking these fast characters out of position and punishing that. I mean, right there, D.Va automatically gets pulled in, and that's a really good sign for the defense right now. Sure, you know, Ox goes down, but he was able to pull that D.Va out of position, forces boosters, forces shields, and the defense is able to push out and cover for the fact that Ox went down early.
And Reels is the only one alive so far for the side of the offense, as Kissa comes behind Executioner-style flashbang into headshot, is going to take him out and clean him up, and that's going to be all of B.fly once again cleaned up to start off this game. And Choke Overwatch's beginning defense working out very well, and I can definitely agree with that sentiment. Hook is it's one of those situations where any movement or position displacement ability can have a huge impact when it's being consistently landed, but he can also be a liability when he's missing those hooks with the Discord Orb out there. But as I say that, he picks up his own kill, able to take out Tom in the background. Meanwhile, we have Darius dealing with this Tracer, and it looks like so far Tracer isn't going to be a big enough threat, as there is going to be the Transcendence here used by Darius as Outsider takes out Chipsa, but not entirely sure the purpose of that Transcendence was. Maybe just a little bit of a freak out moment because he saw the Pulse Bomb and thought it might have stuck to him, but nonetheless, yeah, it is used.
That actually might be a problem for the defense now. They have that huge ultimate down, and this engage is coming in. Wow, MVP Badger doesn't hit anyone, but that's fine. All you need to do is get into the back line here, and Tazik's still on the card trying to stall the point as much as he can. But man, what could have been? What would have happened if if they had you know, Transcendence in that moment instead of burning it earlier?
You know, honestly, I think it would have made all of the difference. B.fly should be able to take this point now, but you bring that up, the Transcendence, we were talking about it earlier, you know, allowing another ult to build up another ult. Well, Transcendence would have most likely allowed Tazik to be able to build up the ultimate. He wasn't quite on it yet when it started, but he was able to get it during the fight, and then Chips and Christopher are on the same boat. So if Darius had used that ult at the better time, they would have been able to hold the point with those ultimates and then chain them off and win the fight. And different story, but nonetheless, B.fly's into the streets phase, and now we get to talk about the very open area known as the streets phase with 3 different degrees of verticality. You got your high, your mid, your low, and you have the 2 elevators. So lots of different ways that these fights can break down on this section of the map.
Yeah, and very good rooftop, establishment. Basically, they're gonna punish. They're gonna force you to look backwards as you go in. Great engage right now, except the Graviton Surge keeping them in place, but that's just not doing enough right now.
I don't know if it was the keeping them in place or keeping them around the Death Blossom. It was kind of one of those situations where he was not stuck with them. They were stuck with him when they Graviton Surge. They all collapsed around the Graviton Surge to get value out of it. Natural, it's what you should do, but Death Blossom, well, not the kind of ability that you want to be standing around, and because of the Winston barrier from Ox, I think it prevented all of the cancellation, the flashbang, any attempts to stop Chipsa. Man, that Death Blossom did a lot of work.
Yeah, that was for them, and this is back. They're back at it, taking that top thing. They're jumping down to go for an engage, and on the backline, Fisher's really trying to get something done, but that Earth Shatter, wow, may have done enough as Ox takes out Reels, and the rest of the fight Transcendence on Casper, and now the defensive Transcendence from cover.
And they seem to have been stalling out on the fight so far, but MVP Badger does take out the double kill, and Fisher's able to take out Ox. Ox does get the kill onto Casper as he's dying, it looks like. Not exactly sure, maybe it's jump back kill, but does end up happening out that way. Christopher now on the run as Fisher around him like a fly, wanting to take him out. Dragon Blade is available, and no longer is this fly just annoying. He can take out your entire team, and Fisher's going to continue to push forward. 2 seconds left on the Dragon Blade, but maybe a bit greedy. Does get away with his life. Definitely a flash of it ending there as he saw 4 heroes in his face, but looks like the offense is able to continue to push out here and do enough work to be able to convert the payload. That pick on Chipsa might actually just be that, as there's a Graviton Surge onto the rest of the defense as they continue to push forward. No deflect for the Genji as he goes down to Kissa's Deadeye, and Kissa going to continue to push forward with that flashbang. Does go down to Reels, though, as he is definitely feeling it. He gets himself another kill onto Tazik, and now he's looking at this Primal Rage Monkey. Ox, the Scientist, he goes down to Outsider, and that was a very, very clean fight overall, I'd say, from the side of B.fly in that Streets phase, but I think you put it best. It all started with Fisher in the background, able to just be an absolute nuisance, and now Christopher even staggered more for the side of the defense here, as we're looking at a stopwatch right now of 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah, I don't really know why he was out there that far. He had no support, and sure, I think it's not going to matter as much right now, but maybe it would have been better if everyone was just joined together, because right now you give B.fly a lot of opportunity to move up and take control of that forward studio.
Yeah, and that's actually just one of the... honestly, I feel like that's both the place in pugs where people really get stalled up on the offense, but at the same time, in these competitive games, Earthshatter going to be going out, hitting on 3 heroes. Now going to also get the charge as well, MPV Badger. Oh, no, I don't think it matters anymore. Even with that charge, Christopher and Chipsa are lighting up the kill feed far more, and Outsider, he's the only one left alive near the payload. He's at a 3rd HP, does get the self-bubble off, but his death is pretty much inevitable. But what I wanted to say is that when you are stuck in that position in Pug, sometimes the offense can get stalled up because there are only, 4 ways into it, and 3 of the entrances are naturally, all of the entrances for all that matter, are naturally covered by the position you should be in the defense. But when you get that catwalk control as the offense, you get so many different choices of a Genji jumping down. When Pharah was played, Pharah falling down, you do not want the payload to be up that far as the defense. But Deadeye coming out from Reels, we need to see what this can get done. As he takes out Christopher in the flashbang, not able to land on Winston as he was inside the barrier, but Kissa, he gets a superior Deadeye taking out Casper and Tom, both of the supports. No ultimates in that department, and Chipsa, he's going to go ahead and continue to nail the point home as he takes out another kill onto Reels, looking for Fisher, and Fisher just going to sit there. And basically, there's no way for him to force his own death. He could try to, of course, kill, but he was just going for a little bit of the BM, but that is a situation where he is basically at the whim of the enemy team.
I mean, he gets out alive, which is already kind of... I don't know, man. If they honestly killed him right there, they might delay the push a little more. But remember, Fisher still has ultimate. He just didn't die, and now he's back to full health. Let's see how this engage works.
This Dragon Blade could be huge. There is a there's no Transcendence from Darius. That's Casper's Transcendence. That's going to be huge. They need to be able to take out Fisher before he gets too much damage done. Drop beat will be used, so they will be able to stay at a healthy HP. And Casper, well, he's basically the only member left alive on the point, and that is going to be a cleanup. And Kissa plus Christopher and Reinhardt, that's a hero that you would love to see lighting up your kill feed. I gotta be honest, when you see a team doing really well, sometimes it's just because Reinhardt is participating in the fights more than what you normally expect out of a standard Reinhardt, and Christopher is doing that right now.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for the offense to make the push. Casper has ultimate, and neither of the defensive ultimates on the supports are still available for Choke. So, this could be a good opportunity to go in and really use the fact that Deadeye. So he pops a Deadeye, hopefully doesn't cancel it. Looking for any big skulls right now, nothing. So he is going to cancel it. Moves forward, which is absolutely fine. But yeah, no, the big push is coming. I'm still waiting for the Reinhardt ult.
Flashbang was able to get onto Christopher, and there we go. That's exactly what you were looking for. 3-4 man Earth Shatter. Going to go ahead and continue to push off the back of that is B.fly. There is going to be a Lucio attempting to cart dance for a little bit, but Christopher is going to be having to switch over to that Diva. We're going to switch to him as he attempts to get to this payload as quickly as possible. It is also going to be Kissa over here on the left side. Kissa gets charged, gets canceled up. There is going to be multiple heroes on it, so we go to the overhead view now as Reels. Deadeye does take out Kissa. There's going to be a Transcendence coming out from Darius as they hope to continue to fight this out, but Choke Overwatch is not in a good spot as they're losing member after member. Chipsa does take out Casper, but now Fisher, triple kill. Death Blossom able to punctuate and clean up the point as we have a stopwatch of 8 minutes and 2 seconds, and that is a very, very long time. And the last map came down to 5 seconds. This is looking like a boating situation for the side of Choke Overwatch to actually take the map and tie up this series. They have all the time on the clock to be able to do so at the very least.
Yeah, it's all going to be about that first point. If they can defend that first point, stall it out for long enough, maybe there's a chance to force them to, really emphasize that streak phase. Well, I'll say this is honestly that I think their first point hold on defense wasn't great, but their rooftop control in the streets actually, I think, made a huge difference at the start, being able to win that initial fight in the streets. But at the end of the day, you can't discount the fact that, I think just great ultimate timings overall, but there are definitely some moments where you kind of second guess whether or not they should have ulted there or not. And it sucks to say, but because you're not immediately aware of what ultimates your opponents have up, sometimes you might burn ultimate without thinking about the long-term consequences. So there might be something to think about as they try to figure out ways to style the remainder of this map.
Yeah, and I mean, that might go to another point in discussion where we were talking about coaches and captains before. When you are in the heat of the moment is its whole other discussion. When you're a player, you dial into that flow, you dial into that focus, the data, the information that you have to deal with on the fly is a lot. Positioning, other players' skill, their play styles, whatever it may be, all of that data changes the way you play. And so when you're in the heat of the moment, decisions are completely different than when you're out of the moment and able to think of things clearly like we do as casters, able to sit back and analyze with all 100% information. But I mean, I guess maybe that goes to maybe that is more of a need for a coach so that the players can dial in more and the coach can be like, no ults, yes ults, you use your ult. It is a whole nother discussion that I think or a whole nother aspect of that discussion that could be brought up.
Yeah, no, for sure. But let's look at this engage right now. Man, that triple tank start from the offense right now. Let's see how that works out for them.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been seeing this. It was something very common back in the day, but there's going to be the hook from Chipsa onto MVP Badger. Reels is able to win the duel on to Kissa, so that will give the defense a little bit more breathing room. Of course, they won't be able to deal with that McCree, but the hook onto him, he does get bubbled up and is able to be taken out as Reels does not choke at all in that moment, getting the good left clicks and able to quickly take care of him. And so far, B.fly doing all right on their defense. They're going to go ahead and push out and stagger the rest of the members that are there, and that is exactly what needed to happen. And honestly, I feel like that was a little bit slow out of a triple tank setup, but they are going to go ahead and drop one of the tanks, and they are going to go ahead and pick up that Genji coming out from Chipsa. So they will be running Zarya, Reinhardt, no Roadhog.
Yeah, that was kind of the issue with having triple tanks, is when your single DPS dealer goes down so early, you just have enough damage to initiate the fight. And weird, questionable charge right now, but that Transcendence comes out from the backline trying to negate a lot of damage from the frontline damage dealers. That return Transcendence and that Graviton Surge, wow, great wombo combo. Really great from the defense being able to keep that.
I think that set of plays right there is an instance of individual versus team. Now, we'll see what Chipsa does go down during that Dragon Blade, but what I want to highlight is that Chipsa, I almost about screamed a little bit there, but he drive-by took out Reels. Reels was in his Deadeye. Reels was pulling the trigger, and Chipsa's like, hey buddy, jumps in front of him, deflects as he pulls the trigger, and kills Reels mid-air. And it was just an awkward situation, but like you said, that Graviton Surge, the teamwork from B.fly, able to win out that fight. So definitely something to think about in that respect there, as an Earth Shatter is going to go out and ends up canceling out that Deadeye. There's going to be Kissa going down, and now the rest of the Death Blossom coming up from Fisher as Darius is trying to do as much damage as he can in the background, but it's just not nearly enough, and he's all alone right now. And B.fly Took you 8 minutes to score, but man, your defense is looking spot on right now.
Ooh, that was really weird, really questionable Graviton Surge. Only catches one person, and guess what? You can still ult in the middle of that Graviton Surge. That doesn't stun you any. So MVP Badger was just like, okay, you just isolated me in front of the point. I'm just gonna hit Q and force you guys to reset. And that was, I guess, that was enough.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely the good point to bring up too. Is you can still use those abilities, and the Reinhardt was able to keep his shield up. Chipsa will be able to take out Tom, and outside around to Christopher, so 1-for-1 trade, but the Dragon Blade from Chipsa, this could be the changing fact here. 4 seconds left on this as he gets 1, 2, 3. Can he make it the 4K? No, Ox is going to go ahead and take that. Oh, you Ox taking away your Genji's steam, but nonetheless, that's going to feel good for them. They're going to go ahead and push out and look for the stagger on the spawns. Chipsa hunting out onto the Lucio, and of course, finding and killing the Lucio would be absolutely huge here as he is all out, all alone, but it looks like he will be backed up, and now actually Chipsa's going to be the one that ends up going down for that, and it shouldn't end up mattering, but still, that could end up costing them a few seconds. Precious ones at this point.
Yeah, no, exactly. The worst part about it is, like, right now Chipsa needs to build up his ultimate, and dying that early, and I mean, he had no reason to really die there. All he needed to do is create disruption in the backline, stay safe, and really go for the flanks late game. As you can see, he's giving opportunity for the defense right now to take the upper stairs and the upper streets kind of coverage and engage on there. Reels jumps down with his dead eye trying to get a few kills. Chipsa's still in the backline, still without ultimate and Discord, and they're just able to push them back.
Yeah, they are just cleaning them up right now. Ox and Tazik are really the only ones in the areas. We will switch over to the rest of the defense as they are the ones alive right now, but as you can see, the offense back near their spawn, and the side of B.fly is definitely thoroughly controlling this. And I was going to bring up the point that Chipsa isn't doing so bad in relation to his counterpart, but you look at the rest of the ultimates right now, and it is not a good story for the side of Choke Overwatch. Chipsa is going to go ahead and use that Dragon Blade now. He was getting the better charge out of Fisher, but one kill is not going to be enough for them to continue to push this payload fast enough. He will be going for the double slash, but Genji, Fisher, counter Genji, double leap, dash away, gets away from that Dragon Blade, clears the distance, and will remain safe. And now the defense, like we said, has plenty of ultimate to work with. This outsider's going to be running back to the fight. There's going to be a Deadeye coming out so far from Kissa. How many skulls are going to be there? Earthshatter going to be hitting on one. He will be able to take out MVP Badger after that Earthshatter. That was Kissa. Now looking for those left clicks, but in the background, Reels with the great flanking play is able to get on the back of Kissa, take him out. Outsider takes out Darius after Casper takes out Fisher, and now this defense is just doing so good right now from B.fly. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. The flanking play from Reels, the individual play, the teamwork. I mean, take the pick, Scribe. It just seems like B.fly has everything going in their favor right now in the streets phase.
That was honestly the biggest part, was that Reels was just in the open, like able to do a lot of damage from the back. So sure, yeah, you miss, you don't get the optimal Earth Shatter, but the fact that you're mitigating so much damage from the offense and your DPS dealer is dealing free damage, that's just ridiculous right now. I think that's something, obviously Reels caster curse immediately goes down, but this is a great engage still. They held on to Transcendence and were able to mitigate a lot of forward damage.
Yeah, but Fisher unfortunately not going to be able to get a lot out of his Dragon Blade so far, so that might be the saving grace for the offense here. But MVP Badger takes out Christopher before I could even finish that thought. And Outsider's taking out Darius as well as Kissa falling from Fisher. Chipsa, the only one alive really that can do too much damage here. 95% on his ultimate, needs to try to get that up before dying, as his death might be inevitable at this point. Fisher, though, giving up the chase for now will allow him to go ahead and evade for the moment, but MVP Badger was able to take out Tazik, and that kill, again, another stagger. And if we go to the stopwatch, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, there is still time to complete the map, but you got to be asking yourselves, at least the elephant in the room for the side of Choke Overwatch, is we're down 0-1, we're down match point, and right now B.fly does not look like a stoppable force at all. Yeah, or a movable object, rather.
Yeah, we were just talking about staggering ultimates, and right now, Tom is able to have an ultimate that mitigates so much of that upfront damage that they were hoping for. And yeah, sure, you got some people in the backline trying to create troubles, but right now, man, Chips is just all alone. Kind of ditched his team to really try to do more backline damage, but just couldn't make up for it.
This is B.fly really coming into their own right now. It felt like on that Kings Row game that they were a little bit lost for sorts, and Choke Overwatch got the better start. Looked like they were definitely going to be the better team if we just took a snapshot at the beginning of that match, but go towards the end here. B.fly seems to be the team that's doing better here, but it's not the end yet. There is still the possibility for Choke Overwatch to go ahead and take this map. They still have the time on the clock, but it is getting lower and lower, and with that Graviton Surge into the Dragon Blade of Fisher, I don't think it's going to be any possible anymore. They're going to go ahead and call GG. 10 seconds for opening the door, capping the point, and moving through the last section. That is going to be the side of B.fly eliminating Choke Overwatch in the finals, 2-0 in Scribe. B.fly they are definitely a team to watch out for, in my opinion. But definitely proving it
Yeah.
here, I think.
Oh man, yeah, we just spent so much time talking about like staggering ultimates, and that was a perfect example of it. They would only have Caster burn the Transcendence to mitigate a lot of damage. Tom would hold on to it, and then immediately afterwards, the offense thinks, well, we burned one defensive ultimate. They're not keeping track of the Lucio. They're saying, well, let's go in again, and then Tom burns his ultimate, break it down, and just is able to mitigate so much more damage. The offense is getting frustrated, and by this time, Casper is out to like 80% again, is able to have it back up, and that was just the story of the fight. Just nothing was going right. The offense had ultimates, and they tried to engage, but the defense was able to react properly, able to put down their own ultimates, and able to change that tide of the entire fight. And that's the story. That's why it's frustrating as offense. You need to learn and kind of be able to say like, well, this is what they have, and being able to keep track of their ultimates, and the fact that they had no idea what defensive spells were up, and the fact that they were so rushed for time at the end kind of forced them into a lot of bad suboptimal situations. But that's how it works.
I definitely agree with all of that, as that pretty much sums up that game, I think, very succinctly. But we are going to be getting into the next match here in a little bit, guys. I am going to go ahead and pull up the brackets for you on the screen, but you can type in !bracket to go ahead and bring them up for yourselves. But the finals is right around the corner, as we have B.fly taking on Evox, your pick from the lower bracket, not the loser's bracket, but the lower bracket, as lower part of the bracket, as you thought that they were definitely the team to beat. There were definitely some teams in there. I would have said Click Effect, definitely one to be scared of. Other team, definitely one to be scared of, but Evox wasn't against them on their side of the bracket. They clean across. They end up taking out Top Mid Esports, who took out the teams I just mentioned, and they're going to be into the finals taking on B.fly. Do you have any thoughts, Scribe, before we take it to a break so we can get hyped up, amped up, and go ahead and post and share the game that's going to be coming up here?
Man, well, B.fly, I haven't been watching any of the Evox games, but I assume bring their A game right now. But B.fly, if B.fly can just be doing exactly what they do on defense and be so coordinated together, I can only imagine Evox is going to have a very, very tough time finishing up this maps.
So then, if I had to go ahead and be that guy, as if I were to be the host on the desk, and I had to say, put your money where your mouth is, if you had to go ahead and personally put your bet or guess on the series, who's going to go ahead and take it, and what is going to be the match score?
So how many games is this? Is this
best of 5? This is a best of 5.
Best of 5. Woo! Right. All right. Let's go. Honestly, B.fly has to rely a lot on what Fisher can do as that Genji and going into the back lines and being able to disrupt a lot of the action. But if Fisher's on his A game, I can see this going 3-1 B.fly. But Evox, I haven't really seen how well they've been doing. But if they can stay coordinated and stay cohesive, Evox definitely could make this very close. But I'm gonna say right now, B.fly 3-1.
I completely agree with that for now. I would honestly say 3-2, feeling a little bit more towards Evox, but we haven't seen him play today, so it is a guess there, but it looks like we're on the same boat, guys. But we'll be getting into this match here in just a moment, as we will be having B.fly versus Evox coming up for you guys, the finals of the ESL Go4 EU Overwatch Cup number 10. Definitely get out on social media and definitely let people know about this game, as it will be a best of 5 coming up here in just a moment for you guys. But in the meantime, if you guys are looking for stuff to check out, you can go ahead and check us out on Twitter, as you can find the co-caster you've been listening to, his voice, his awesome analysis. It is Scribe, and that is a 1 instead of the I and OW. So Scribe.OW on Twitter. Go ahead and follow him there. And also you can check me out at RaptorZOW on Twitter, as well as definitely follow at ESL Overwatch for updates on ESL tournament, ESL Overwatch tournaments, as they do tweet about the Go4 series. They tweet about the Atlantic Showdown and any other ESL events that are going on, as well as the smaller 6-on-6 cups that you guys can participate in for additional practice. But guys, we'll be sending it over to some music. We'll be getting into the next match here in just a second, as we have the finals between B.fly and Evox coming up right next here on ESL Go4 Overwatch Cup number 10. And definitely get out there and let people know about these games, guys. We'll be right back.